Hey there, how are ya? I want to make sure you can hear me, and I want to, I'm just sort of starting up a little, couple minutes early to see if I'm okay. I think the air conditioning has to get turned off. I think I remember last time that was noisy. Um, Good. Somebody's already let me know. Can you hear me? Can you see me? I don't have as many lights on as I did last time. Hey, Karen Basham, how you doing, girl? It's so good to see you on here. Peggy Sue, my buddy, and two sisters, right? Good to see you both. And I think about you and pray for you, Karen. Bless you. Bless your heart. Uh, hey, Mr. Tudor, can you turn the air off? Thank you, dear. Hey, Liberty Baker. There's another person I know. And then would you do me one more favor and turn on that overhead light? I forgot to stage that. Thank you, baby. Hey, can you believe my husband and I are doing this together, and he's getting ready to go online and do his, he's a biblicist. He's getting ready to do where we got our Bible. It's just going to be 15 to 20 minutes, and that's his area of expertise. That's where he studied, and so he's getting ready to do that. And I'm pretty excited for him. And so we think we're really doing good because we set up our own technology. We got our own tripod. We got our own. He just got a camera for his computer because he's going to sit in front of his computer, and he had to get a camera to add to it because wasn't compatible with his software. So and Jeannie Walker is helping him set that up. So we are really doing good. Hey, Patty Hutchison, long time. Oh man, we go way back, decades back. And so we are, my husband and I are pretty excited that we've been able to learn this at this age, and it's a little taxing at the beginning, but we're getting it. And so we want to be totally independent and not have to rely on anybody. So that means we got to learn it. And you know how it is, girls. With hey Patty again. Hey, you know how it is with your embracing aging. When your hands don't work as good, your eyes don't work as good, and so it takes a little longer. In fact, I got this all set up. Hey, there's Debbie Trader, friend from Michigan, longtime friend of my husband's. I got this all set up an hour ago so I could be ready to go and not have anything happen. And I also try to have supper ready early, and I sort of my whole day is adjusted around it so I can start it on time. It looks like I've got another minute or so to can you hear me okay? Good. Christy Garrett. Wow. And I'm pretty excited I wrote my script out. I'm pretty excited about what I'm going to give you tonight. I don't think you'll hear this from any doctor or nurse, unless they're a functional medicine doctor, nurse. And I'm excited that I can give you something that will be a blessing to you. And it is amazing to me. I'm amazed at how many people are watching these videos, and thank you to those of you that share them with, there's pastors' wives that share them with their church, and I sure appreciate that. And right, I know that's Liberty, not Greg. Good, Liberty. I'm sure some men do take a look at it later. By the way, I save these on my timeline because people are going back and people that can't watch them tonight will go back and listen to them another time. Also, sometimes you need to listen to it and take notes. The human body is very complex. And as you age, my husband and I were talking about this today, there's so many things that we have to work around in order, if you're going to take care of yourself, if you still want to be used of God, if you still want to go forward in the ministry, even though a lot of people in the world think 70 is old, to God, I don't think he sees age just like he doesn't see time. And so we are going forward as much as we can, and we still want to influence lives. We still want to teach and be used, and if we're going to do that, then we have to take care of our temples. I think I'm at 6 o'clock. I'm going to open in a prayer, and then I'm going to get started. Father, I ask you, Lord, to bless this session. Please give me clarity of thought, give me wisdom, help me to follow my script, Lord, and if I do think of something that I need to put in, help me to come back to it. I need you, Lord. I need your strength. I ask, Lord, that you just bless this. I can't believe 1,800 people are watching my videos. I'm just amazed. And Lord, I pray that this would go out and reach out. And I've already had missionaries call me that are getting help. And Lord, if I can help any Christian, if I can help any person have a more quality life and more energy, I'm really blessed, Lord. I thank you for that. And I pray again that you just be with us tonight and bless us in Jesus' name, amen. I was really shocked that so many people watched the videos. When I tell that to people like Zana Richin or Kathy Wilkie, friends of a lifetime, they go, why would you be shocked? And I'm like, because I know there's a ton of stuff out there. You know, I can go on YouTube and pull up, there's Dr. Eric Berg, who does a tremendous amount on adrenal fatigue and thyroid, and there's a lot of doctors and medical people and nutritionists that are making videos, and they're cooking up a storm, and they've got visuals, and they're in kitchens, and there's nutritionist people, and there's, and I'm like, wow, that the Lord's letting me do this. And I do believe he's giving me a ministry at this age to help people. And I've always been helping people. I just, because I'm a nurse and I love it. And for those of you just joining us, this is part 3 of male and female hormone imbalances. I've not talked about men's imbalances until tonight. I want to sort of put the cap on this hormone study, but I want to introduce the problem with men's hormones and give you a couple ideas of things you can do. I thank you for sharing and keep doing it. Disclaimer, how to have an appointment with me. Okay, if you've already messaged me, do so again, because sometimes I get dozens of messages and I don't get back to everybody. This past week, I had some friends come up here, and they came to see my nurse practitioner, Evelyn Hammond, who does the biomeridian scans. I'm going to talk about that next week. And I have some more friends coming in, so I was out of town. And I can't always get back, fast enough to people. And in fact, I was shocked that I had missed some messages. So don't be afraid to be the squeaky wheel. That works with me. You just don't take offense. Don't say she's too busy. And it ebbs and flows. The next week, I will have some time at the end of the week for appointments. And thank you, Peggy Sue, saying we know you and we can trust you. I appreciate that. Please don't put personal health information on my Facebook page. Remember the HIPAA Act, and I want to be very careful with your history, and I want to be careful with what Facebook knows. You don't need your personal history on my Facebook page. You may message me and tell me anything, because that's pretty private. I'm pretty, other people are not privy to that conversation. If I'm slow in getting back to you, persist and don't take it personally, because I will get back. This week I had a very important, I was in a wedding. I was the mother of a bride who is like 63. And Ma'am Clemenson, for those who know the ranch, she was the mother of the groom, who's like 68. And it was really fun, but I was busy. And, rehearsal dinner, da-da-da, and all that. And so, and because I am fighting chronic Lyme, I'm limited in how many hours I can give to everything. And so, and I'm making my own fresh juice and et cetera. We all know how our lives are. But I don't want you to think that I don't have time. I love it. I've had several missionaries call me or text me, message me from across the country, and I really, if I can help a missionary, if I can help any pastor's wife, if I can help anybody who's trying to serve the Lord, I want to do that. I call what I'm doing, I'm coaching you through the medical system. And by the way, you may still need a medical or doctor, but you got to choose the right one. And so I can be like I'm like a coach, nurse. I can coach you. And when you have an appointment with me on the phone, and you send me a love offering, well then I've got your history in my mind. I won't forget that, pretty much. Then you can text me, and you're not going to send me a love offering every time you text me. Then you can text me and answer questions. Example, I had a missionary went into the health food store and text me, is this what you want, what I should get? I realize that's one of the things I've got to teach people is what kind of things to buy and how to buy them. That's an upcoming video. I'm already backed up. I've got next week I want to do the 5 big invaders. I've talked about this. You've got to hear this, because some of it is what causes hormone imbalance. Then I want to do a day where all I do is show you all my inexpensive health foods. Like Walmart has these delicious sweet potato fries. I want to show you all my labels and all my foods and spices and stuff like that, so you can get ideas. And so I've got a lot of ideas. And by the way, you can private message me, or you can. I don't care if you give a suggestion on my Facebook page, like for something you want me to teach. Just again, please don't put your personal information on my timeline. If you've started something I have recommended and it didn't work, or it is working, now give it a few weeks, but I've already gotten some feedback that some ladies have gotten on progesterone and it's already helped them. I would love that. I will take your reviews. Private message me those. And that's the end of my disclaimer. Tonight will make better sense if you have not, tonight will make better sense if you go back and if you haven't listened to my part 1 and 2, you need to go back and listen to those, because this is built on what I've already taught. I feel like I taught some specific things. People are still asking me about ladies' progesterone. I gave real explicit instructions on the video number 2 on hormones, how to take it and when to take it, and I was really clear about that. Okay, so I'm going to give you some information, and I'm going to read some of this. Hormones are your body's chemical messengers. They are produced in the endocrine gland. So what's a hormone? It's a chemical messenger. We have it in our mind that it has to do only with the physical, intimacy, sex. That's not true. Insulin is a hormone, and it comes from your pancreas. And if you have blood sugar problems, you're going to have a hormone imbalance. Because all of these hormones and these glands are like dominoes. And I recall when I said when one gets out of balance, it knocks over all the dominoes. So these hormones are chemical messengers. They travel, they're powerful chemicals that travel around your bloodstream, telling your tissues and organs what to do. They help control many of your body's major processes, including metabolism and reproduction. When you have a hormone imbalance, you have either too much or too little of a certain hormone. By the way, adrenaline is a hormone. Thyroxine is a hormone. Insulin's a hormone. Females have several estrogens. There's estrogen, there's estradiol, there's FSH, there's TSH, there's progesterone. There's quite a few. Testosterone. In fact, females have testosterone. And so there's a lot of different hormones, probably over 30. Or there might even be more. I don't know how many, but there's quite a few steroids, like corticosteroid. Your steroids come from your adrenal gland. Your pituitary gland sends out hormones. So you have a lot of different hormones. If you have too little or too much of a certain hormone, even a tiny change can have serious effects throughout your whole body. Think of it sort of like a cake recipe. How many of you, I've got some fantastic flops. Think of like a cake recipe. Too much or too little of one single ingredient can affect the whole final product. Do you ever? I want to make these nice muffins and they come out flat because I put too much coconut oil, or I didn't put enough flour. While some hormone levels fluctuate throughout your lifetime and may just be the result of natural aging, many people they're just naturally aging. They've really been moderate in their food, they've been moderate with their body, they just have a natural aging process. Other changes occur when the endocrine glands get the recipe wrong. So there's a recipe, and of course, sadly, because we have not had good, we have drugs. I'm going to give all the causes. I'm going to give the symptoms first. I chose the verse for tonight, that 1 Corinthians 6, 19 and 20. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which ye have of God, and you're not your own. I'm not my own. For you're bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. That has helped me for 25 years put the better food in my body. Sadly, I pretty much put my pedal to the metal on my body and really ran it in the ground till I was 45. And I worked unbelievable hours, and I wouldn't say I was eating totally like a teenager. I did like salads and stuff like that, but I was eating a lot of processed food on the run, trying to be in the ministry, and really hurt my temple. And so your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost. Where does Jesus live? He's not living down at the church. He's living in here. And I always say to my students, boy, what do we feed Jesus? What do we give Jesus? What do we do to him? And so I'll be the first to say, you know, I learned a lot because of the wrong things I did. I always use Mrs. Trieber right here when I talk about this, because Mrs. Trieber is one of the few people I know who's, bless her heart, never been in a hospital, no surgeries, had her babies at home, 3 babies at home. She doesn't take antibiotics, and she learned earlier than I did about what to do for your body, and so she's the perfect example. No, she's not perfect, but she's really had a medical history that to be desired. Those of you that are young, if you could start now learning about functional medicine, and what functional medicine is there's a why behind every symptom. Where instead of just giving a drug, or instead of just cutting out the gallbladder, or cutting out something, or like taking a medicine, or you know, those, find out why and see if we can fix it in a natural way. Symptoms in both men and women of hormone imbalance: weight gain, fatigue, increased sensitivity to cold or heat, constipation or increased frequency of bowel movements, dry skin, puffy face. You can have a fast heart rate or a slow heart rate. Muscle weakness, frequent urination, increased thirst, muscle aches, tenderness, stiffness. You'll see a lot of us older folks getting, we have a hard time moving. Stiffness is a sign of low testosterone, especially in men. Thinning hair or thick, coarse hair, pain, stiffness, or swelling in joints, increased hunger. You can have depression, decreased libido, nervousness, anxiety, irritability, blurred vision, sweating, infertility, rounded face, a fatty hump between the shoulders and back, purple or pink stretch marks. In adult men, you actually there can actually be development of breast tissue, and you'll see this in some men. Breast tenderness, lack of ability to achieve erectile dysfunction, loss of muscle mass, decreased libido, decreased beard, body hair, and body hair growth, osteoporosis, loss of bone mass, difficulty concentrating, memory loss, hot flashes. Those are all symptoms having to do with women, and those were for men. And ladies, those men over 40, and unless they've been very health oriented, they probably need some supplementing of testosterone. Almost all women. We do have a few women that can need some estrogen. But most, I want to say, I think I said on my last video, 85%, most women need progesterone due to the problems with the diet because of the hormone, all the hormones in the food that we've had. So we have estrogen dominance. And if you haven't looked that up yet, you need to look it up, because it's really, you can look it up easily. Just Safari search estrogen dominance, and it'll give you one brief paragraph, you know, and you'll learn a little bit more about your body. Common causes of hormone imbalance: diabetes, hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, not as common, thyroiditis, hormone therapy, including birth control pills, tumors, eating disorders. In men, you realize our men work with heavy metals, or if they're working on vehicles, they can be exposed to toxins and metals, which definitely lower. Those are endocrine disruptors. They disrupt the endocrine system. You know, it's interesting. Do you ever notice that a lot of older people are grouchy? A lot of women, when they're going through menopause, are witchy. I was just talking to somebody, and mother and daughter both admitted that they were both very witchy at the wrong time of the month. Well, that is because of a hormone imbalance. And so older people, instead of getting antidepressants and anti-anxiety, they need natural hormones and probably some supplements, and of course a better diet. Causes, back to causes. Heavy medical toxicity can come from mercury in your mouth. It can come from working with any type of building materials. I have friends who rehab houses, exposed to a lot of nasty stuff. Medications, stress, adrenal insufficiency, pituitary tumors, injury or trauma, cancer treatments. Okay, now these 6 are common causes unique to women. They're related to reproduction. Okay, naturally, hormone imbalance. Menopause is a hormone imbalance. Pregnancy is a hormone imbalance. Breastfeeding, it's a hormone imbalance. Premature menopause can be caused by chemotherapy. If you take chemotherapy and you're 30, it's going to shut down your whole hormone system. Some people's turn back on, some people's don't. Hormones like birth control pills definitely can definitely change someone's entire hormone system. uh, PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome. I might, if somebody needs help with that, you need to private message me. That's something I'm not going to talk about right now. But you know, there's no single test available to diagnose a hormone imbalance. No single test. Now there's a lot of tests, but even sometimes, like the thyroid test we don't have real good thyroid tests. I'm sure you know, example, we don't have tests for Alzheimer's. You have to go by symptoms, some psychological testing, but you actually Alzheimer's is usually diagnosed after the person passes away on like an autopsy. There's a lot of diseases we don't have tests for. My brother, who got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, was diagnosed strictly by symptoms up at Mayo Clinic because there was no MRI in 1980. There were no drugs for MS back then. There was nothing. And so our thyroid tests are still not the greatest. I'd like to explain what a false positive. A false positive means you can have a test that comes back negative, but it might be wrong. Or you can have a test that can come back positive, and it really might be negative. So there are testings that are inadequate. I looked online, and there are a few home kits. I noticed there were some home tests for like low progesterone, low testosterone. They said that they were not conclusive. Okay. So, and I'm going to continue on here because there is a company that is doing some testing that is pretty good. One of the important things about hormones to understand is, for example, like thyroid. The best time for a thyroid test would be at 4 a.m. By the time you get up, warm up, go to the doctor, get a thyroid test, that isn't the blood that you take at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning is not a true picture of the circulating hormones. And because hormones are circulating constantly, they're going to ebb and flow. And remember the key thing I said about ladies, we're changing every day. Now, it's not so much after you've hit menopause, but during the cycling years, we are changing every day because the whole beautiful machinery that God gave us is getting ready every month to have a child. And that is a high-tech machine. And what's happened in America, we've started messing with that machine, and now we got all kinds of issues. And you know, we have way more. Before the birth control pill came out, we had very little breast cancer in America. We had very little infertility in America. This would be back before 1960. I don't remember. The pill came out sometime in the 60s. And so there is multiple imbalances due to what we've done to our bodies and what's been done to us by the medical corporations and the big pharma. So there are tests that can be done, and I saw some of you might want to order them. They're not real expensive. There was one I saw, a testosterone test for $59, and so there's ways. You just have to do some research on it, and just put the exact words in, and it'll come up. But they're not always conclusive. Meaning, you might take the test and you'll look at it, and it's sort of like some used to be pregnancy tests where you could be pregnant, but the test can come back negative. I think the tests have been improved since then. But there is always a chance that you could be misdiagnosed with a test. Many doctors miss diagnoses on tumors. They're not easy. I wanted to tell this story that I thought was very interesting. I had a lady come to me. When I was a college teacher and worked in the dorm, we had a lady, she's now passed away, June Middleton, and she had several daughters in our school. She was told by an area physician that she needed to have a lung removed. And she had a spot about that big on her lung. Looked like a tumor on the x-ray. Well, her daughters, this is way back, I don't know, maybe it's got to be 30 years ago. Her daughters all said to me, go see Miss Fry. They told their mom, go see Miss Fry. And by the way, this lady was in her 60s, and she was taking classes. Her and her husband were taking classes at House Anderson. And they said, go see Miss Fry. So I said, well, what I really want you to do would be go to Mayo Clinic to get a second opinion. Don't let somebody cut your whole lung out. I mean, that'd be debilitating for the rest of her life. And so she went to Mayo Clinic, and she had a doctor who the doctors there are like, they're really like the experts of experts. And Mayo Clinic is always good with very hard, I shouldn't say this, Mayo Clinic is usually good with hard to diagnose things. I wouldn't say they always know about, I don't think they have a good Lyme clinic there, but they're known for certain areas. So I knew that their lung clinic was good, so I sent her up there. She walks in, and this doctor has just diplomas everywhere, like 50 of them. And so he says to her, have you had an x-ray asking questions. Have you had an x-ray in the last year of that lung. She said, yeah, about a year and a half ago. He goes, we need to see that. Well, she was from a farm in Ohio, and so she sent for the x-ray, and it came, and lo and behold, that same spot, exact same size, was still there. So they took a look at it, and I don't know if they did a biopsy, but guess what they found out? When they found out she worked on a farm in Ohio, they said, this is a fungal cyst from blackbird dung, and it's very common in the valley where you live. And so they gave her a antifungal medication, and they cleared up, and she had this cough that was constant. They cleared up the cough and the cyst slash what looked like a tumor. And it's very important for us to know what's going on in our bodies, and it's important to get good help and get second opinions, and go to the right places. Now, I think I mentioned at Mayo Clinic, I sent somebody who I believe had Lyme up to Mayo, and they don't have a Lyme clinic. To my knowledge, that's not something, and right now the medical world does not recognize chronic Lyme. If you get the bullseye rash, they will recognize that, but they do not recognize chronic Lyme. So, but that's just an example of how we saved her that lung operation, thank the Lord. Okay, solutions for hormone imbalances. One of the things is what I gave on my last two videos, which is over-the-counter medications that you can take by buying online. And I will be showing in the comments, I'm going to talk a little bit about OTC testosterone. I do not know how well it works. I have no idea. My husband and I were both on prescription hormones when we came to Missouri. We've been here 2 years. We have not found a person yet to give them to us. I'm just now doing that. And so I'm taking over the counter. I don't know that I'll go back to prescription. But some people's hormone balance is so severe they need prescription level. And there are ways to get that. For example, I was in Great Falls, Montana, and I was going to teach on this. I just called information and said, I'm looking for a compound pharmacy. Compound pharmacies are pharmacies that make bioidentical hormones. Bioidentical hormones are hormones that are not chemicals, and they don't hurt your body. They don't have the side effects. And then I called the compound pharmacy and I said, could you please give me a list? I'm new in town. Could you give me the list of doctors who prescribe natural hormones? They gave me the list with no problem. That's a way you can find it, because some of you may take an over-the-counter progesterone cream and see no help. If you have severe PMS, if you have bleeding problems, if you have weight issues in the sexual parts of your body, which usually that means you need to be balanced out. Even the thyroid, if you'll notice, this is flat here, and before I was real puffy before I was taking iodine because my thyroid was working so hard. And I talked about that, and I think in part 1, part 2, iodine is the mineral that helps your thyroid do the work of thyroxine. So I will be posting comments. I may not get it done till tomorrow, so don't hold me to it. And I don't know how it's going to work. My husband's he's agreed to be my lab patient. But I picked out, I looked it over, I studied it, and I found some bioidentical testosterone OTC. Now the stuff you get OTC over the counter is not as strong as you get from a pharmacy. I have finally found a Care Wellness, by the way, local people, in Springfield, Missouri, that does do bioidentical and natural hormones and nutrition. I found the perfect place, but I can't get in as soon as I want to. So the other thing, next number, is a company called BioT. It's B-I-O, capital T, capital E. Up in Maryville, Indiana, those of you that are listening, Dr. Dennis Streeter is he's called a BioT Health Representative Specialist. I looked it up, and he's listed online. Now, what's great about this company is, this is a company out of Texas, and both of the Streeters and a couple of their nurses went down several years ago and learned what to do, and took classes on this. And what they do is they draw the bloods and don't charge you for the bloods. They bill insurance. If insurance pays, fine. If they don't. And the bloods include your blood sugar, which is, remember, insulin. They include your fasting blood sugar. It includes thyroid. It includes testosterone for both sexes. It includes D3, which is a hormone. And everyone under the sound of my voice should be on 5,000 IUs of D3. It's very important. We're very deficient. By the way, D3 is a hormone that fights cancer. It fights infection. It's very good for your immune system. The only person I would say that shouldn't take that would be somebody with severe kidney failure. But D3 is crucial, and it might even be fine for them, I don't know, but that would be the only person. By the way, I said this, and I meant to explain this. Your body will get rid of natural things. Some of you who are worried about, well, I'm going to take this natural thing, how do I know I'm not going to overdose, or I'm not going to... Well, you know, one thing, I've given you dosages, and by the way, on some of the back of these pumps, these hormone pumps, it tells you what to take. Now, if you don't see any improvement, I want you to private message me, because I can walk you through and coach you through how to know what to do. But this BioT company, okay, so they draw the labs at Dr. Streeter's office, and I'm just using him as an example, but there are other BioT companies all across the country. I researched it, and I've got one down in Branson, just 2 hours from me. So you just put BioT Medical or BioT Hormone Clinic, and near me, you know, and they should come up. And so back to this, they draw your thyroid, your D3, all your female hormones, your male hormones, your insulin, your diabetes, they check your 5A1C, they check all these things. And what's great about this is the computer gets those levels, they enter those lab results into the computer, and the computer spits out a full sheet with the results and with what you need. And so my husband and I both did that with Dr. Streeter. We were both put on thyroid, or he basically renewed our thyroid. Richard we were both, our D3 was fine. We've been taking 5,000 D3 for over 10 years. And our D3 was fine. I think my husband's thyroid was a little low. I think my progesterone was low. And so we were both treated that way, and there's a way you can either take pellets, pills, or creams. There's also injections now. Here in Springfield, I found a place where they'll teach me how to I already know how, but they'll teach me how to give my husband injections. And it's a lot less expensive than the pellets. And there are pellets they put in your hip. And so those of you that are Northwest Indiana or anywhere near there, Dr. Streeter and Julie Streeter and Chris Crafton, they got it going there. That's where. But you do have to work at diet. You do have to work at other things. You knew I was going to get to diet. Decrease sugar. Get off sugar. It is like a drug. Did you know it works on the same spot in the brain as heroin and cocaine? My husband and I have been off sugar a long time, and we are doing the Trim Healthy Mama desserts. We use monk fruit, we use stevia, we use a tiny bit of maple syrup. I make a lot of different things, and I now have a girlfriend here on the ranch that makes me desserts that are not full of sugar and bad carbs. Bad carbs are the white. You don't want white flour, you don't want white sugar, you don't want white salt, you don't want the whites. Get off the whites. And those all affect the pancreas. Sadly, because so many of us, and I'm including me, I don't want you to go on a guilt trip, because this is all about moving forward. But I really abused. I think my husband's a more moderate person than I am. He's a more, he didn't overdo it like I did, but I pushed my body way beyond, and now I've got a lot of arthritis issues because I overlifted. I would drag 17-foot Christmas trees into the college without thinking a thing about it when I was 35. Now I think about it that I'm almost 70. And so the food that we eat, remember, you are what you eat. And so you're not going to get out of that hormone imbalance yes, you got to supplement, because the reason you got to supplement is because we're so out of balance because of the wrong foods. But start getting wean off. I was just with someone recently helping them, and this person was eating 5 and 6 candy bars a day. Now I think they probably have some parasites that are craving those, and sugar cravings are real. And so we were trying to help this person wean down off of it. And so you've got to get yourself some things. Get yourself some 80% dark chocolate. Some people don't like that, but it's very good for you. You can get you get the good kind. There's good stuff out there. And it's got very low in sugar and it's low in carbs. So get off those bad. Now you know what I miss. I miss macaroni. So I use the brown rice noodles, but I only eat it about once a month. I'm really cautious with my carbs. And so decrease sugar, decrease the bad carbs, decrease the hormone, go to the hormone-free meats. And those of you that think it's so expensive, Walmart carries hormone-free meats. I go to free-range eggs or organic eggs. Can get all of this at Sam's. So start looking, and I use different flours. I get my coconut flour, my almond flour, my flax flour, all at Sam's. And those flours they're better for the digestion. They're also better for the pancreas. Pancreas, remember, has to do with these hormone imbalances. One reason why we see so many people getting the belly that we can't get rid of is because of too many carbs made from the wrong flours, etc. You know what? We're blessed. We are living in a world right now where we can get a lot of different things. And I don't know what's going to happen with what's going on in our world. I pray a lot. I pray a lot for President Trump. This is a little parenthesis here. I pray a lot for, I don't worry because I know the Bible and I trust the Lord. I pray many times a day, at least a dozen, for God to bind Satan in Washington, D.C. I'm now praying intensively that God protects President Trump. I wouldn't be surprised if someone made an attempt on his life. Everything else they're trying is not working, and they don't want him to be president. And so I'm praying very strong. You know, stress has a lot to do with our hormones. And when my husband and I started reading the Bible at least an hour into 15 minutes every day. We started reading the Bible through 4 times a year. Life-changing. And when you read the book and you stay in the book and you know the end of the book, Revelation, you just have such peace. I have such peace. I'm not worried. I'm not scared. I'm not living in fear. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not social distancing. Now, if someone wants social distancing, fine, I'll back up or anything like that. But I'm not going to Walmart with a mask and gloves on. I'm not living in fear. So stress has a lot to do with how we see life and our hormones. Now, if you're high risk and you want to wear a mask, that's up to you. I'm not saying I'm against them, and I'm not going into all of that. I might do that on one video. I'll see. If I get popped by popular demand, I might get some scientific information and put it on. But I want to just tell you that living in fear is not good for your body. We are supposed to be, God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but a power and of love and a sound mind. And so as you're working on these hormone imbalances, you got to look at the total picture. I may do a video just on stress and tell you some things that I do that has helped. I am going to post I have a pumpkin coffee cake, low carb, delicious, not full of junk, that I'm going to post on my timeline, and give me 24 hours to do this, but I'm going to post that there for you. PM me with your questions, and remember, girls, don't go on a guilt trip. Just work on going forward. I could just sit here and just make myself feel terrible for what I did to myself the first 45 years of my life. But you can't do that. You can't undo the past. And see, the devil wants us to think that way. He wants you to make you feel bad because you've got some weight issues, or you haven't done this, or you haven't done that. We can't live that way. We got to go forward. And moving forward, I am so excited that my husband and I still have a ministry. My husband's 76. I can't believe, and we do have some issues. He's a Vietnam vet. He's got some heavy metal toxicity. We have got some things that we really have to work on. Is our health perfect? Absolutely not. But you know what? I'm excited that I know what's wrong with me. I'm excited that I have a phone where I can research. I'm excited that I can go to Sam's and get almond flour and organic bone broth and organic eggs, and I can just go back and there's so many things that you can get. Walmart. I mean, I go get the organic avocados at Walmart. They're fantastic. So there's so many things that we have available, and just like this, you can order OTC testosterone online. And by the way, ladies, men need it too. At over 50, they're losing hormones. And it affects their energy, it affects their memory, it affects everything. And their muscle mass, everything. Someone had just Googled in about a total hysterectomy, and I wish you would private message me. I'm not going to do that here. because I'm already down to about 40 minutes, and I'm really trying to keep these. I don't want them too long. Pray for me if I'm supposed to get a YouTube. I don't know if I want to open it up to the whole world. I don't know if I can handle that. I love it that this is a more closed situation. And 1,800 people viewing my video is pretty overwhelming. Not that I'm overwhelmed with business, but that I just can't believe it. I thank God. I give all the glory to Him. He gave me such a great education, and He put me in places where I've learned so much from so many people. And both of the streeters have been a real blessing to me. And then I have great eyes. I can just read and read and read. And I will just read. And I'm getting ready next week. I'm going to give you the surprising cause of a lot of sickness that no one's addressing. Stomach problems, constipation, fatigue, depression. A lot of people are not aware of what's going on. And we don't think in America we can have some of the problems I'm going to talk about. So next week I'm going to do the 5 invaders, which I've been wanting to do for weeks. If I have to do a round 4 on hormones and cover menopause and a hysterectomy, etc., I will do that. And I feel very humbled and blessed that you would listen to me and follow these videos. God bless you, and remember, you are what you eat.